Today, my mom and I were invited to a CAF by the CEO's wife of Derek. She pulled out a check for 10 million yuan and snapped, "Take the money and get away from my son. Now, immediately." I was utterly stunned. I'd only interned at Derek for a few days. When on earth had the CIO of Derek fallen for me? Thinking of Ray's handsome face, I was torn between him and the 10 million yuan. Just then, my mom stood up abruptly, her face dyed with restrained anger, and said, "The bond between Ray and me isn't something money can buy." I nearly spat out my coffee, staring at my mom in disbelief. "Mom, since when have you had a thing for the CEO of Derek?" "I've been studying abroad for years." One day, my brother called and said Mom's mental state was off. She'd given up being a wealthy lady to work as a cleaner. Schoolwork is important, but Mom matters more, so I booked a flight back home at once. As soon as I walked in, I saw Mom in a cleaning uniform, a rag in one hand and a broom in the other. She froze for a second when she saw me, then snapped, "Did your brother tell you I work as a cleaner?" I nodded and tried to persuade her. "Mom, we're loaded. Why go through this hard work when you could be enjoying life?" Mom said calmly, "The world is chaotic. Being a cleaner brings me peace." Her eyes were clear, as if she truly found peace of mind, but I thought she'd lost her marbles. Our family owns more than a dozen vacation islands. If she wanted peace, she had plenty of places to go. Why on earth clean toilets? My brother patted my shoulder and whispered, "The doctor said she might be under too much mental stress and needs to relax. Stay with her more and cheer her up now that you're back." So I applied for a job at the company where Mom worked as a cleaner, and became a secretary assistant. When Mom saw me at work, she glared and said, "Don't tell anyone I'm your mom outside. If you dare expose my identity, I'll disown you." Seeing she meant it, I had to agree. From the moment I stepped into Derek, I watched Mom like a hawk every second of the day. One day, a female co-worker at the next desk came back from the bathroom cursing up a storm and said to us, "Don't go to the second stall in the ladies' room later. Some inconsiderate jerk pooped on the floor outside it. That's disgusting. Hurry up and get a cleaner to clean it up." I instantly worried about Mom, but a tiny spark of joy flickered too. Maybe seeing that pile of crap would make her throw in the towel. I snuck downstairs, hid in the shadows, and held my breath to watch. I saw Mom walk into the second stall with my own eyes, and the toilet flushed over and over again. After a while, she left carrying a bucket. I put on a mask and rushed over to check, and she cleaned it spotless. The tiles were polished to a shine, not a single trace of the yellow mess left. I gave up on trying to change Mom's mind. Maybe she really loved being a cleaner. No job is superior or inferior. If she wanted to keep working hard and making a difference, us kids shouldn't stop her. I went back to convince my brother to accept Mom's odd obsession. That night, my brother called me an idiot, and Mom didn't come home at all. We couldn't find her, and her phone was off. My brother and I were beside ourselves with worry. Mom was already 52. If she tripped or hurt herself outside, it'd be a total disaster. We sent people out to look for her. Half the night later, a friend of my brother's called and said Mom had applied for a night shift cleaning job at his hotel. My brother and I were shocked. We never thought Mom would work as a cleaner at Derek during the day and take a part-time cleaning job at a hotel at night. I said to my brother, "See, I told you Mom really loves it." My brother rolled his eyes at me. "Idiot." That night, my brother and I couldn't sleep. Awake and sat in the living room until dawn. At 10 o'clock the next morning, Mom walked in looking radiant. I stared, confused, and asked, "Mom, didn't you wear this outfit yesterday?" Mom awkwardly pulled up her collar and mumbled, "My clothes got dirty with sewage yesterday. I borrowed this from a co-worker." I nodded in realization. Your co-worker must be pretty tall then. Judging by the size, this white shirt was definitely for someone 180 cm tall. My brother didn't say a word the whole time, his face cold. As soon as Mom went upstairs, he made a call and snapped, "Find out which man Mom's been spending time with lately." I froze and asked awkwardly, "Bro, what do you mean?" After hanging up, my brother ground his teeth and said to me, "Haven't you noticed Mom's wearing a man's shirt?" I stared blankly. Huh? Is Mom gonna get us a stepdad? My brother. Idiot. My brother and I had completely different attitudes about the idea of a stepdad. I said to him, Mom's lived a carefree life all her life. She deserves to find an old guy to wait on her in her old age and suffer a little otherwise. She's had it too easy her whole life. Heaven won't stand for it. My brother said, if you keep blabbering, I'll set you up with 10 blind dates. I shut my mouth at once. My brother said he wanted me to keep working at Derek to watch Mom and talk to her more until he found out who that old guy was. He also said if any man tried to take advantage of Mom, he'd step in. To get closer to Mom at work, I bribed Derek's HR manager and asked him to transfer me from the CIO's secretarial team to the cleaning crew, and specifically assign me to clean the restrooms. It was probably the first time anyone had made such a request, because the HR manager looked like the money was burning a hole in his pocket. He insisted on making me the cleaning crew leader, or he said he couldn't take the money in good conscience. I hastily refused, stammering and stealing Mom's line. Don't give me special treatment. The world is chaotic. Being a cleaner brings me peace. The HR manager stared at me for a long time, then patted my shoulder and said, work is busy, but you still need to see a doctor. I nodded vigorously. But when I changed into the cleaning uniform, grabbed a rag, and walked into my workstation, Mom brushed past me. My cleaning lady in uniform beside me sighed in admiration. The company sure acts fast. Ivy just got transferred, and they already sent a new cleaner down. Me, could I ask where that cleaner was transferred to? The lady mopped the floor and said, she's been transferred to be Ray's personal cleaner. I don't know how lucky she got. She only has to clean the CEO's office, and her salary's doubled too. Having just been transferred down from the CEO's office, my mouth pressed into a thin line. I sent another sum of money to the HR manager and messaged him, I found my piece. Transfer me back. HR, I haven't even had time to update your personnel file. Just go back directly. He also sent the transferred money back to me, telling me to use it to see a doctor. I've always thought Mom was out of the ordinary. And sure enough, in just a month, she'd risen from a lobby cleaner on the first floor to the personal cleaner of the CIO's office on the 18th floor. In fact, Mom was such a beloved cleaner that she was second only to Ray himself in the company. Everyone treated her with deference. The day before yesterday, Ella, a CIO's chief secretary at the next desk, was fired by Ray just for ordering Mom around once. Yesterday, Linda, the second CEO secretary sitting behind Ella, was also fired by Ray for talking back to Mom once. I secretly suspected Ray must have found out Mom was actually a wealthy lady. Otherwise, why would he fire two secretaries who'd worked for him for more than a decade just for a cleaner? I'd never believe Ray was just being kind-hearted. Just the other day, my supervisor chewed me out mercilessly. Even a dog couldn't stand it and barked twice, but Ray walked right past me without even a glance. Then the next few days, all 5 secretaries in the secretarial office were fired one after another because of Mom. I have no idea why the secretaries insisted on picking a fight with a cleaner. Ray'd owed it on Mom so much they had no sense at all, deliberately provoking her like that. And now, I'm the only one left in the secretarial office. I went from an intern secretary to the chief secretary overnight. At noon, I got a call from Ray's mother. She told me to bring the cleaner who cleaned Ray's office to the CIF next door. I had no idea what it was about, but I took Mom there anyway. As soon as we met, Amy's face darkened, and she said sharply, I know all about your relationship. I had no idea if she was talking about the fact that the cleaner and I were mother and daughter, or that the cleaner and I were Zoe and the lady of Conrad Group, so I kept my mouth shut. Then Amy slammed her coffee cup down coldly, pulled out a check from her bag, scrawled a string of numbers on it in a bold hand and slid it across the table to us. Take the money and get away from my son. Now, immediately. I was utterly stunned. I'd only interned at Derek for a few days. When on earth had the CEO of Derek fallen for me? Thinking of Ray's handsome face, I was torn between him and the 10 million yuan. After a moment's thought, I chose the 10 million yuan. Ray was handsome, but he was far too overbearing, not my type. I stood up, grabbed the corner of the check, and said firmly, I'll leave Derek as soon as possible. Amy snatched the check back at once and stared at me in exasperation. What does this have to do with you? Why are you even here? Me, huh? Then Mom stood up, her face icy, and said, "Put your stinking money away. The bond between Ray and me isn't something money can buy." Me, huh? Mom tore up the check and strode out. I stamped her foot in anger behind her. I chased after Mom, dumbfounded, and asked, "Mom, what's going on between you two? If you don't explain, we'll never be able to sleep." Mom stopped and mumbled evasively, "Kids shouldn't meddle in adults' business. We Ray just ordinary friends." I stared at her suspiciously. Ordinary friends get offered 10 million yuan to stay away from each other. When I pressed her further, Mom grew more and more impatient. Maybe Amy thinks I'm too lolly to be Ray's friend. After I got back, I thought long and hard and figured Mom might be right. Ray was 2 years younger than me. There was no way he'd fallen for Mom, right? I checked the schedule and saw I had an auction to attend that night, so I put on an evening gown, ready to accompany him as his date. When Ray saw me, he asked, "Why haven't you left after work? And why are you dressed like this?" I looked confused. "Ray, don't you need me to accompany you to the auction tonight?" Ray said coldly, "I already have a date." Then he grabbed Mom and dragged her toward the elevator. My face darkened. Ray was so scheming. He wanted to take Mom to the auction, and my uncle who was in charge of the auction would definitely give him extra respect. That was just him using Mom to curry favor. Mom struggled all the way, complaining, "Let go of me. I have a part-time job tonight." But Ray pinned her against the wall. Domineering lie, lifted her chin, and said forcefully, "Isn't the money I give you enough?" I couldn't take it anymore. I rushed over and shoved Ray aside, angry. "Ray, can't you be gentle? She's not young anymore. Can she stand being manhandled like this?" Ray's expression changed slightly. Mom straightened her clothes and glared at me. "Who says I'm not young? I'm still young." With that, I stepped into the elevator. Ray shot me a glance and followed her in. I quickly called a car and rushed to the auction right after them. When I arrived at the auction, I called my uncle and went straight to the main hall. As soon as I walked in, I saw Mom standing in the center of the hall, still in her cleaning uniform, sticking out like a sore thumb among the richly dressed ladies and nobles. Suddenly someone slapped Mom across the face. A sharp crack rang out. Wool cutting through the bustle of the hall. "Ivy, long time no see. Look what a mess you've made of yourself." The woman who hit her sneered. It was Hannah, who'd always been Mom's rival in school. "You were so arrogant back then." "Well, I am now reduced to being a cleaner for someone else." Another elaborately dressed woman chimed in with a sneer. Then Ray slapped both women across the face in return. To sharp cracks rang out, echoing in the silent hall. Everyone was stunned, staring at the scene in disbelief. Hannah and Mary clutched their cheeks, staring at Ray in shock. Ray stared at them coldly, his eyes sharp as a blade. "Watch your mouth. If I hear one more word insulting her, you'll never set foot in this circle again." My mom grabbed Ray's hand, signaling him to calm down. She stood up slowly, wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, and said in a calm yet authoritative tone, "I'm just tired of the glitz and glamour. Is it so wrong to want to experience life as an ordinary person?" The two women sneered, mocking my mom for putting on an actor. "And you tired of waiting on people as a cleaner? If you were really that noble, you'd go do charity in poor mountain areas. Stop faking it here." Their blunt words really ruined my mom's moment. Ray's face turned cold. "She is my fiancée, the future Mrs. Derrick. You'd better show her some respect." I nearly spat out my wind. Did he just say what I think he said? A flash of panic crossed my mom's face. She waved her hands hastily and said, "Ray's drunk. He's got the wrong person." But Ray held her hand tightly, his voice sincere. "Ivy, I really like you. Let us go get our marriage license tomorrow." I froze, rooted to the spot. Hannah was also stunned. She stared at Ray in disbelief and asked, "Ray, do you have any idea how old she is? You must be really desperate." Just then, Derek CIO and his wife stepped forward. There was no shock on their faces, only malice, like they wanted to humiliate my mom. Amy slapped my mom hard across the face. "You bitch. How dare you seduce my son?" I thought she must have had a screw loose. both in her eyes and her head. Sure, my mom was still somewhat attractive, but she had plenty of wrinkles. And she was wearing a shapeless cleaning uniform. The word seduce didn't fit her at all. Then Amy launched into a stream of verbal abuse, even pouring red wine over my mom's head. What confused me most was that my mom just stood there, not resisting at all. All she had to do was say she was Mrs. Conrad, and everyone would back off in fear. But even after being humiliated like this, she stayed silent, staring at her bullies with wide just them. When all the insults and hits finally stopped, my mom spoke up suddenly. Her eyes were sharp as she said, "I originally wanted to get along with you as an ordinary person, but you forced my hand. Actually, I'm the world's richest person." And my small brain was filled with big confusion. When on earth did my mom become the world's richest person? If she was going to reveal her identity anyway, why let herself be bullied like that? I stood aside, speechless. It felt like all this had happened just for the big reveal moment. Otherwise, why would a bunch of wealthy ladies act like shrews, picking on a cleaner? The commotion attracted the venue's management, and my uncle appeared. He had no idea my mom was working as a cleaner. Seeing her standing there in a cleaning uniform, covered in wine and looking messy, his brows furrowed. He asked coldly, "Why are you wearing that outfit here?" Everyone present respected my uncle deeply. A woman beside him thought he was disgusted with my mom. So she snickered and said, "A cleaner wears a cleaning uniform, of course." My uncle raised his hand, and a group of security guards swarmed over. The woman grinned triumphantly and said, "Hurry up and throw this filthy cleaner out. Don't let her pollute our eyes." Just as the security guards were about to approach my mom, my uncle shouted sharply, "Who told you to throw her out?" "I told you to throw out everyone who insulted this cleaner." The woman looked shocked. "Jack, have you lost your mind? Are you really going to offend all of us wealthy families for a cleaner?" My uncle snorted and said, "What cleaner? The person standing in front of you is the world's richest person." Everyone was stunned, me included. Almost everyone at the party had insulted my mom after the security guards kicked them out. Only my mom, my uncle, Ray, and I were left. Ray stared at my uncle intently, as if he was jealous. I glared at Ray, my eyes practically shooting fire, wanting to burn a hole in his face. Ray turned to my mom and asked, "Are you really the world's richest person? Am I not good enough for you?" My mom pushed him gently and whispered an explanation. "What world's richest person? Jack was lying to you. I used to work as a cleaner for his family. That's why he stood up for me." I rolled my eyes hard. Would an employer offend so many wealthy businessmen for a cleaner? Even if my mom wasn't the world's richest person, she was definitely not ordinary. Only an idiot would believe that lie. Ray believed it. He pulled his resentful gaze away from my uncle, nodded at him, and said, "Possessive lie, from now on, I'll protect Ivy. No one else needs to stand up for her." My uncle looked shocked, staring at my mom awkwardly as if he didn't know what to say. My mom's ears turned red. She pushed Trey and said, "You go back first. I need to talk to Jack for a minute." Ray nodded and left reluctantly. My uncle hesitated for a long time before blurting out, "Ivy, what are you thinking? Isn't that Derek kid younger than Zoe?" My mom looked impatient. "Mind your own business." I couldn't help but tease my uncle. "Uncle, that lie was way too exaggerated. When did our family become the world's richest?" My uncle said seriously, "I'm not lying. Conrad isn't the richest. But your mom is." I asked, "Does my brother know?" "Uncle, he doesn't know either." So my mom had been hiding her identity at home just to show off one day. I picked up a towel, wiped my mom's hair dry, and asked Mom, "Are you really together with Ray? I beg you to think carefully. He must be after something from you." My mom's face turned dark. She snatched the towel from my hand and said coldly, "After what? I showed up as a cleaner. What could he possibly want from me?" I sighed and persuaded her, "Mom, you're not an ordinary cleaner. You Ray, a 52-year-old billionaire cleaner." My mom ignored the 52-year-old part and emphasized, "He doesn't know I'm a billionaire." I paused and asked, "Mom, can I ask when you became a billionaire?" After my mom's brief explanation, I felt like the world was a huge mess. full of plot holes. After my mom changed clothes, I helped her leave the venue. It had been a long, tiring day, and she was starting to look worn out. Unexpectedly, as soon as we walked down the steps, a Maybach pulled up. Ray was still there, waiting for us. His handsome face looked at us with a mix of playfulness, coldness, and tenderness as he ordered, "Get in the car." Thinking my brother would be coming soon, I waved my hand and refused, "No thanks. I'll take a taxi." Ray got out of the car, walked past me, picked my mom up in his arms, and put her in the car. Then he threw 20 yuan at me, telling me to take a taxi home myself. I picked up the 20 yuan, my mouth pouting higher than a mountain. How stingy, for such a big CEO. He couldn't even spare 100 yuan. When my brother arrived and saw only me, he asked, "Where's Mom?" I pressed my lips together, hesitated for a long time, and said, "She's working overtime." I didn't dare tell my brother the truth for two reasons. First, the whole thing was too complicated to explain. Second, my brother looked down on Derek, and even more so on Ray, the newly appointed CEO, as he always told me that Derek was too pretentious, and that I should never date someone like him. I'd always been obedient, following my brother's orders faithfully. Unfortunately, he was so busy lecturing me that he forgot to lecture Mom. That day, Mom didn't come home again all night. When my brother got up in the morning, he was really worried. His face was cold as he said, "Mom's already this old. Working as a cleaner during the day to get some exercise is one thing, but why is she working overtime at night? People who don't know better would really think our family is poor, making an old lady work day and night." I hung my head, sipping porridge and pretending to be invisible, thinking silently, "Mom's not stupid at all. She's eating like a queen." At noon, Mom sneaked back home, tiptoeing into the bedroom. Earlier, I'd seen a message in the company group saying Ray wasn't at Derek today, so I didn't go to work either. I never thought I'd actually catch her red-handed. Mom was still wearing her cleaning uniform, but she had an extra scarf around her neck, as if hiding something. A few minutes later, Mom came out, holding our household registration book in her hand. Then I made a small sound. Mom's face changed. Then she turned to me and asked, "Why aren't you at work?" I said to her, "You don't need the household registration book to get married anymore. Just an ID card is enough." Mom froze for a moment, then stuffed the household registration book back out. It's been so long since I got married, I didn't know the rules had changed. I nodded. "I've never been married either. You can just scroll through Dewey and more you'll find out." "Okay, I'll scroll when I have time," she said, turning to leave. Wait, that wasn't the point of me waiting for her here today. I grabbed Mom's arm and asked her seriously, "Are you really going to marry Ray?" Mom brushed me off. "Ours will just be a marriage of convenience." Seeing she was still trying to fool me, I held up my hand to cut her off. "I don't mind you dating, and I don't care who he is. I just want to ask you one thing. Are you really happy with him?" Mom thought carefully for a moment, then said to me, "Being with him makes life feel colorful." I figured the colorful Mom was talking about was all kinds of colors, not just a boring single yellow. Seeing her eyes full of longing for the future, I stopped trying to stop her and let her chase her love. All that talk about being a cleaner brings me peace was just an excuse. She'd clearly gone to pick up a young guy. Ray had the body, the looks, the personality, and the money. He wasn't my type, but I had to admit he was way better than those male models. A drinker's heart is not in the cup, but in the scenery. She had an ulterior motive all along. Earlier, my brother thought Mom was mentally unstable, but now it seemed like we were the fools. In the afternoon, I went to Derek to pack my things and hand in my resignation letter to HR. Derek's HR had always been very kind to me. He even told me to relax more and take some time off before looking for my next job. I smiled, pulled a business card out of my bag, and said, "If Derek ever fires you, come to Conrad. I'll have someone save a spot for you." HR held my business card printed with Deputy CIO of Conrad, and stared blankly as I left. That night, Mom called me, asking me to pick her up. I asked impatiently, "Pick you up? Doesn't Ray have a car?" Mom hesitated. "Just come." When I arrived, I saw Mom sitting in the car alone. I asked, "Where's Ray?" Mom said, "I sent him away." Mom explained that Ray wanted to meet her family, and she also wanted to confess her identity to him, but she didn't know how to tell my brother. So she called me to help stop my brother later, in case he betray up. Her shrugged, "I can't handle this. I'm afraid my brother will beat me up too." Mom clicked her tongue. "You kid." Just as we were talking, Ray came back, holding an ice cream in his hand. He handed the ice cream to Mom, gently saying, "Here, your favorite vanilla flavor." Seeing Mom was about to eat it, I frowned, snatched the ice cream from her hand, and snapped, "Don't you know your own health? You're just going to put something this cold in your mouth. Are you not controlling your blood sugar anymore?" Ray snatched the ice cream back from me, staring at me coldly and saying, "How dare you yell at my woman? Do you want to die?" I sneered. "Who do you think you're talking to? Do you want to die?" Mom stood aside at a loss. "Stop fighting, you two." Ray's face was cold as he said, domineering lie, "You're fired. Go back and pack your things." I snorted, "Cut the crap. I already resigned. I don't need you to fire me." Ray was about to say something when Mom hurried to stop him. "Honey, just let it go. Don't argue with your stepdaughter." Ray, "Oh. So your Ivy's daughter come back to Derek now, will give you a good position, double your salary." Then he gave me a warm, friendly smile. Me. As soon as the generational gap sank in, my momentum disappeared completely. Ray drove in the front seat, while Mom and I sat in the back. No one said a word, and the air was thick with awkwardness. Following the navigation, Ray's car stopped in front of our villa. Ray cleared his throat and said, "Ivy, is this also a place where you work part-time?" Mom whispered, "I lied to you. I'm not a cleaner. I'm the world's richest person. The CEO of Conrad is my son." Ray was shocked, even a little angry. He rubbed his forehead, looking a little sad, and said, "I think I need to reconsider our relationship. I didn't mean to hide it from you. I never thought we'd get this far at first. I was confused. What's wrong? Did my mom's identity as the world's richest person really hit him that hard? Was Ray really that innocent and pure in love?" And they were being all lovey-dovey, and I couldn't stand it a second longer. So I hopped out of the car first. A little while later, the two made up and strolled through the gate, all smitten. My brother was playing with the dog at home when he saw the three of us walk in. His cold, aloof demeanor snapped back in an instant as he turned to me and asked, "Why didn't you say a word about inviting Ray over? No heads up at all?" "I only found out he was coming just now." I smiled awkwardly. "Besides, he's not here as Ray today." My brother was sharp as a tack. He could smell something fishy from the looks on all our faces. His expression darkened at once, and he snapped, "Zoe, did you just tune out everything I told you? I'm telling you, I will never let you be with Ray." "Brother, you've got it all wrong." Before I could finish, he marched over to Ray in 3 big strides and warned him, "My sister's innocent. You dare play with her feelings. There's no way you're becoming my brother-in-law." Ray's face turned betrayed, and he stammered, "I don't want to be your brother-in-law." Relief softened my brother's scowl a little, and his tone eased. "Then what do you want?" Ray said it humbly, yet dead serious. "I want to be your dad." My brother punched Ray square in the jaw, and Jans immediately stepped in front of Ray to shield him. I lunged forward and held my brother back from behind, yelling, "Calm down, bro. He's not insulting you. He's telling the truth." Not only made my brother angrier, he whipped off his slipper and hurled it, shouting, "Ruby, bite him. Go on, bite him." Our Ruby darted over in a flash, bouncing around Ray like a maniac. Seeing the chaos was spiraling out of control, Mom shoved Ray toward the door and said, "Me go first. I'll talk some sense into him." Ray scurried off. My brother tried to chase after him to finish the job, but Mom blocked his way. "Jack, stop this nonsense. He's your dad now. We already got married." My brother's eyes blazed with rage, and he slammed his fist into the wall beside him. Ray rushed over, grabbed his hand to soothe the pain, dragged him to the sofa, and poured him a glass of hot water. "Chill out. Bro, he stared at Mom with a frosty face and seethed, "You're shameless for your age. Ray's younger than Zoe. How could you do this? Aren't you afraid the gossip will eat you alive?" Mom lost her temper too and shot back, "In the rich circle. Old Odgers in their 50s and 60s marry young girls all the time, and everyone just laughs it off. Why is it shameless when I find a handsome young guy? Besides, Ray and I love each other for real. My brother ground his teeth for real, Ray's just starved for motherly love." They had a screaming match and stormed off on bad terms, leaving me stuck in the middle, caught between a rock and a hard place. Mom hauled her luggage down from upstairs, stood at the door, and said, "If you can't accept Ray, I'm moving out to live with him." With that, she walked out without a second glance. My brother held his head in his hands, on the brink of a breakdown. I patted his shoulder and comforted him. "Bro, it is what I'll let her be." Honestly, apart from my brother and I dropping a generation in the family tree, our family didn't lose a thing from Mom marrying Ray. Eric's family was the one that must have been tearing their hair out. My brother straightened up, his eyes sharp with frustration, and sighed, "She's 52 years old. How can she still be such a fool? Derek's got a family fortune to inherit, and Mom hit menopause last year, for God's sake. Sooner or later, either Ray cheats, or Derek's lined eyes out. Either way. They hate our guts now." I tried to reassure him, "It's fine, Derek can't touch us. Mom's the world's richest person." My brother looked at me with pure worry. "I know this has broken you, but you have to be strong." I was covered in black lines. Did he think I'd lost my mind? Mom really is the richest person. If you don't believe me, call Uncle. Under his skeptical stare, I dialed Uncle, who confirmed Mom's identity as the world's wealthiest. After hanging up, my brother said, "See, you've driven Uncle crazy too." He scoffed. "Do you really think the world's richest person could hide so well that no one knows? It's impossible. You search online. Our face is everywhere." He pulled out his phone and searched for the world's rich list on the spot. Rank 1, Nick. 75, net worth. A photo was attached below. My brother held up the screen and asked, "Does this white-haired old man look like Mom to you?" I shook my head. Logically, the world's richest person should be a household name in our circle. So would I have believed Mom was that person just because a few people said so? I really must have had a brain fart. Later on, I swore there was a bug in this world. And the biggest proof was this: Mom, who'd been in menopause for a year, got pregnant. A prenatal checkup revealed she was having twins. The doctor said it was extremely rare, but it might be because Mom had been in such a good mood and living such a happy life, like a withered tree blooming again. Ray was bouncing around the hospital corridor like an overexcited kid, yelling so loud his voice practically shook the walls. "I'm gonna be a dad!" A shout echoed down the entire hallway. And nurses and passing patients all stared over at us. I stood to the side, my heart a jumble of emotions. "You're already a dad. Technically with 2 kids older than you," I grumbled to myself, but kept my mouth shut. Suddenly, my brother burst into the hospital, his face as dark as a storm cloud. He marched straight to Mom. His tone so stern it was an order. "Mom, you can't have this baby." The whole room went dead silent. My eyes locked on Mom, and I frowned. The risks for an elderly pregnant woman are way too high. I turned to Ray and snapped, "What if something happens to Mom while she's pregnant?" Ray's smile froze on his face, his cheeks flushing with embarrassment. But Mom refused to back down. "No one can take my baby from me. This is the fruit of Ray's and my love." My brother fumed for days, but he couldn't change Mom's mind. "Fine, maybe it's fate." He let out a heavy sigh and finally resigned himself to Ray being his stepdad. At first, Ray was awkward as hell. He still called my brother bro, while my brother called him dad with a stone-cold face. Once Mom got pregnant, my brother stopped fighting with her entirely. He told me, "Mom's an elderly pregnant woman, go check on her more often." I nodded and moved into the house next to Mom's without a second thought. Every morning, I accompanied Mom for a walk by the river to get some fresh air. If Ray was free, he'd come along too. That day, we were walking along the river as usual. Three hooligans with dyed yellow hair stumbled over from the distance, cigarettes dangling from their mouths, looking every bit the sleazy troublemakers. They walked right past me and up to Mom. One of them wolf whistled and said, "Wow, this old lady's got some fire to her." My brow furrowed, anger flaring up inside me. Another reached out to touch Mom's face, spouting filthy, vulgar garbage for the first time in my life. I truly understood what worse than a beast meant. How could anyone prey on a 52-year-old pregnant woman? Ray lunged forward, shoved the guy hard, and roared, "Get lost. Don't you dare touch her." Those hooligans were clearly seasoned troublemakers. They swarmed Ray at once, throwing punches and kicks left and right. I dialed the police with one hand and grabbed a brick from the side with the other, shielding Mom behind me. Mom patted my shoulder and said calmly, "Don't worry. I'm a martial arts master." I froze for a split second, still processing her words, when she darted forward like a flash of lightning and started laying into the hooligans with a flurry of punches and kicks. I was stunned speechless. Her movements were lightning fast. With strength incredible, she took down all three of them in seconds, leaving them writhing on the ground, whimpering and begging for mercy. A thought crossed my mind again: maybe Mom really is the world's richest person, lying low in disguise? 10 months later, safely gave birth to a pair of fraternal twins, a baby brother and a baby sister for me. My brother saw that Mom was safe and sound, then slipped away quietly. Ray held Mom in his arms, his eyes red and teary, and choked out, "Ivy, if you've been through so much, we ain't ever having any more kids, I promise." Mom smiled softly, her eyes sparkling with a warm, unfamiliar light. I stared at the blue sky and white clouds outside, my mind going blank. So what if there's a bug in this world? As long as she's happy, that's all that matters.